So let's talk more about high schools and the new opt-in program. Joining me now is New York City Council member Mark Treyger. He's also the chair of the Education Committee. Good to see you once again, Councilman. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Dan. Good to be with you, Dan. Thanks so much.
Of course, Councilman. So let me begin with the return to the classroom for high school students. First time since November, right? So a big day for so many folks. What are you hearing this morning from educators as students head back to class?
Well, look, I've always supported a phased reopening plan, beginning with the early grades, moving up towards high school, provided that it's safe and we have the resources and vaccines. What I will tell you, Dan, is that on Friday, the mayor and the chancellor made a surprise announcement, with regards to allowing folks to opt back in for in-person school services. It was a surprise to principals in New York City. They had no heads up, no consultation. And I'll tell you, Dan, many schools still cannot provide 5 days a week in-person services because we still have a severe staff shortage, because thousands of staff are still out on medical accommodations, still cannot get a vaccine appointment, folks who are quarantining for 14 days, 10 to 14 days. And so I'm hearing a lot of concerns from school principals. I also want to point out, Dan, that even with the new CDC guidance that talks about students could be 3 feet away from each other in class, it says students have to be 6 feet apart during lunch. As a reminder to the mayor, students are eating lunch now in their classrooms because they're told that they cannot congregate in cafeterias.
So let me ask you this: when you say you're hearing
facing challenges,
when you say you're hearing the concern, right, from educators saying they don't have the staff yet, what are you proposing then as a solution, right? Because a lot of parents are ready to send their kids back to school, right? Because they just want to get back to work and they can't do the double duty anymore. So are you saying hold off until the September school year?
I think the mayor needs to take into account what are the staffing needs of each school. I think that's what principals wanted the mayor to do. Have a meeting with school leadership to discuss what staffing levels do you need in order to make this work. Those are very real logistical questions, because again, Dan, what's going to end up happening is he is going to allow folks to opt in. Students are going to expect there's going to be in-person instruction, and we're going to have virtual study hall, which is what happened in the fall, which is what I predicted as well in many of our schools, where kids will come into a class expecting a teacher to teach them. The teacher will be working from home on a Zoom, and that's not in-person classrooms. That's just basically a virtual study hall class. So speak to the school leaders and speak to your school staff that actually know what's happening at the ground level.
Yeah, many principals did say they were caught off guard by this announcement. You tweeted one school leader saying this, that I don't have the staff to do this, which is what you're saying. No one asked me if we can make it work. Another uninformed surprise announcement. I'm done. All right, so that is from the education standpoint. But for the parents out there, what is your suggestion to them right now then? Is it to go forward with the opt-in period, or, like I asked, hold off until September? Because they're the ones right now caught in the middle.
Right. And I, of course, sympathize and empathize with parents. I think parents should be calling their officials, urging them to make sure that each of their schools has the staffing and the resources and the testing capacity in order to make this work. Look, I'm a former teacher. This is very personal for me, and I understand very well the importance and value of in-person instruction. And we all want our schools to reopen safely. But I think we need to be honest with parents and honest with students and our school communities that we still have a lot of staff out on medical accommodations and folks quarantining for a variety of reasons. And so urge our leadership to call the school principals and say, how can I help you get the staff you need to make this work? I'll give you an example, Dan, very quickly. In April, which is when the mayor wants folks to opt back in, they have to administer state exams in elementary schools.
Right.
They don't even have the staff to do that right now. So that's what I mean, just picking up a phone call, calling school leaders rather than blindsiding them on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock when they're leaving work. It was outrageous.
So for those parents, they're calling their principals about teachers in the classrooms. But I know a big concern of yours has also been school safety agents. But let me ask about overall safety. School safety agents, social workers, guidance counselors, school psychologists, right? Because the mental health of students and staff heading back to school after such a year is going to be huge. Are there enough? You tweeted these numbers: 1,300 social workers, 2,900 guidance counselors. Can we throw those up, please? 560 school psychologists. All right, so are there enough on hand now if more people are going back?
No, we do not have enough. We didn't have enough prior to the pandemic, and certainly we don't have enough right now and moving forward, which is why in the budget we have to fight for more social workers and counselors. And we appreciate the role that school safety plays, but they are not mental health counselors and professionals. Our kids definitely need more support. I'll also tell you, Dan, that a number of social workers and counselors are also out on medical accommodation. So when the mayor says in-person school is important, which I agree, when they come back to school, a lot of the staff that they're used to seeing will not be there, again, because of the pandemic that we're still in. We are still experiencing severe staffing shortages. The DOE knows it. The mayor seems to be the last person to realize it.
All right, just to button this all up for the parents out there who are struggling to make this decision, your advice to them: call the principal, see where they're at in terms of staff levels to make sure that they can even accommodate their kiddos before making a decision to opt back in, right?
Yeah, listen, every parent situation could be different as well, but certainly they should be contacting their school communities to find out what staffing looks like. So at least there's a clear expectation of what's going to happen.
Understood.
There are some parents who still will be okay with that, and that's perfectly fine. But level with New Yorkers, I think it's really important.
Out of time. I appreciate you always, Councilman Treyger. Real quick before I go, mayor's race heating up right now. Are you throwing your support behind any particular candidate?
I've made no decision yet, but I am paying attention to who is valuing public education, which is a very big issue for me.
Understood. All right, Councilman, thank you very much.